So fun thing, it's hailing outside right now, and it snowed yesterday, and not even an hour ago it was sunny. Okay, I just filmed a whole entire thing and it wasn't actually recording. I definitely pressed start because there's like a 3-second clip of me at the very beginning, and then somehow it like must have pressed again, or I don't know. Anyways, very quick recap of like my 10-15 minute ramble that just happened that y'all missed. Sorry, you'll never get to see that. So 1, when I walked out to the studio, it was hailing and I got wet. 2, the hail then turned into snow. It was supposed to be partly sunny today. It snowed yesterday. It was supposed to be cold today, like upper 30s, but not snowing. The weather said nothing about more snow. So that's a fun little surprise. It's like mostly stopped. There's like little teeny tiny baby flakes now, but it was snowing pretty hard there for a couple minutes. 3rd, the plan for today. So we are going to finish the free run file. I worked pretty much all of yesterday on the free run file and got it to a fairly good place. We have a few frames left, I want to say 3 or 4, of the night sky to animate. And then we have to separate the different shapes into their different color layers so that we can get those individually to print. And then we're done. We're done with that file because yesterday I laid it all out in the like actual printing. We're gonna print it on 11x17 paper. So it's all laid out in the file. I just need to finish that little bit, separate the colors, and then we're good and we can print it. So hopefully we'll be able to print it today. That's the goal. So first off, we're gonna finish the free run file, then we're gonna print it. Then we're going to print the backside, the first 2 colors of the backside of the accordion color zines. So the front sides of those zines are all done. You've seen those either in a short or a previous clip. I don't remember, probably last video, but we're gonna start printing the back side of that so that we can finish that up. And then we will print the first 2 colors for both the Lady Beetle zine, which is really cute and it's gonna be double-sided, so, and 3 colors, so similar amount of time to the accordion color zine. So wanna start that sooner rather than later. And then we're going to print the first 2 colors for the milk, cheese, and wine print, which is very silly. But that one should take less time because it's only a 3-color print and it's only on one side. So like maximum it'll take 3 days. The Lady Beetle zine, it's gonna take at least 4 days. So we wanna get that done as soon as possible. That way we have time to finish and bind it, is the hope. I think I'm gonna do saddle stitch for that one. So like hand bound with like waxed thread. I'll need to ask Josh if they have a supply of waxed thread, because if they don't, that changes my plans. And then y'all got to miss my whole ramble about how I'm gonna bind the free run, the flip book. And at first I was like, oh yeah, I need to do a cover because I think if I'm gonna be using like the glue machine to do the binding, I think I want to do a cover on it. I think that would look good. But then I was like, wait, I've been seeing like these spiral bindings around the shop. So I wonder if Josh has a machine for that. Because he didn't point it out in like walkthrough and stuff, but I've seen them around the shop. Like that one is just literally on the table in front of where I've been working. And there are a couple on the shelf with like previous residence work. So I think that might actually be ideal. I'll still probably want like a back sheet and a front sheet. I think that would still look nice, and probably like different paperweight for those as well. But it means that then I don't have to worry about like figuring out like full cover binding and like covering the spine, and it'll like have good range of motion. So I think it would work well for a flip book. So hopefully that's an option, because now my brain is set on it. And if it's not, then we'll figure it out. But I think that would look really nice. But yeah, I think. Hello friends! We've reached the end of Monday. I got cut off this morning again because other artist resident came in and I was like, haha, I'm not talking to myself and filming, like happened the other day. So I think we had basically reached the end though. I was just finishing up telling y'all what I was planning to do. And we have actually done pretty much all of it. We finished doing the file for free run. Finally! I mean, we probably still have a little bit more to do because cover and stuff for that and figuring out the binding for that, but I actually whipped up a really quick cover that I think I'm happy with. It just has all of the characters walking along it and I think it looks good. And then we printed that. So we printed it so that there are 45 total copies with the idea that some of those will not be good. We're gonna mess up some of those alignments and stuff. So the goal was at least 30 good copies is my goal, and we'll probably have a few to play around with binding and stuff as well. So that seems cool. And then we printed the backside of the accordion zines. Somehow they got like weird ink splotchies on them. I'm not sure what they got it from, but like luckily it's only affecting like every other. So on each full sheet there's 2 of each of the versions, which means that at least one of each version is kind of safe. But yeah, I don't know why there's like weird splotchy ink transfer. I'm not a fan, but alas, here we are. Oh, and then we actually printed this first, but we printed the milk, cheese, and wine print. And then we just finished up printing the first 2 colors for the Lady Beetle zine, which y'all saw. And I had to pause in the middle, so I think you come back at like me actually printing it, but I realized that I was missing the cutout in the red ink for the S. The cover has like 1, 2, 3s with an S at the end, and I didn't cut out the red part, so those are in lime, and the S was just overlaying on top of the red ink instead of having a cutout to get to the white ink through, and you couldn't see it. So I had to adjust that and then go back in and redo the master for that one and then reprint the proofs. I didn't get very far. I had just printed like 2 or 3 proofs, I think. Y'all saw all the proofs I printed. So then we printed it and it looks really, really good. I'm excited. I really like the combination of colors, and I think the rest of it, the black ink and the text and all that jazz, is gonna really bring it together, which will be nice. So we'll probably try and print. I'm trying to decide if I want to print tomorrow. I think for that one I do need to print tomorrow, because that one with at least a day in between of drying, because I want at least a day-ish of drying. So if we print it tomorrow, which is Tuesday, that means we have 2 more days, Wednesday, Thursday, to print the back, because we'll need 2 days for the back. And then that leaves us Friday to do binding for that. So I think, yeah, we'll definitely need to print that tomorrow. I think we'll do the accordion zine tomorrow. And I mean, if we're doing the accordion zine, we should do free run. Maybe I'll wait until Wednesday to do accordion and free run to give it a little bit more drying time. And then we can do the milk, cheese, and wine print tomorrow, because I'm not using those same colors in anything else. And we'll use the extra time probably on the remaining days to do the CRT experiment, work on those files. But yeah, today went good. Other than like the weird ink transfer on the accordion zines, I think everything else turned out pretty good. So much paper. One thing that I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna work. I don't know how I'm taking everything home. That'll be a time. So we'll have to figure that out, which will be really fun and cool. Just because like my suitcase was like fairly full. I think the fact that it's flat will help. I'm not sure how I'm gonna protect like the corners of things. I didn't think this through. And I guess worst case scenario, I can always ship it to myself. I am pretty certain Josh probably has some packaging materials that I could buy off of him and ship it home, which honestly might just be easier because paper's also gonna be heavy. Well, I can probably alleviate some of the weight in my... Anyways, it's gonna be a time. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna figure it out. And that'll be a Saturday problem for me. Friday night, Saturday problem. Yeah, that pretty much wraps up today. I don't think there's anything else really to say. I'm probably going to call it a night. And one of the things I've been doing actually, before I call it a night, I'll show y'all, is I've been keeping a spreadsheet of the different papers that I've been using and the number of impressions, which is just the amount of time that like a single ink gets put on a page. So if you have a 2-color print, that's 2 impressions, and keeping a vague number of masters, even though that's tracked in the machine itself, but so that I have like kind of a running tally of how much I'm going to end up owing. And I think right now we're somewhere, I mean, it's definitely increased with the amount of paper I just used the reason I bring this up, goodness, brain, focus. The reason I bring this up is because I haven't entered the number of papers for the Free Room Flipbook or the Ladybug zine that I just did, and I will probably need to do that at some point. I think for both, I'll probably do a count, like a better count tomorrow or whenever I'm printing them next. So I guess Wednesday probably would be the easiest time. Tomorrow for the Lady Beetle zine and Wednesday for Free Run. But I also haven't counted any of the impressions that I did because I don't know the paper count and all that jazz. So it's not up to date, but let me show you. Okay, so you can kind of see it. So we have the different paper types, the price for each of them. This one is down here because I don't actually know the price. This is like an estimate based on the other types. And so this is the price per, this is my number used, and then this is the total using the price per and my number used. And then up here is impressions. Look at that lovely formula. That's just really simple math. Price per impression and how much that ends up being. And then down here we have an estimate of the number of masters that I've used. This is vague and vibes based, and I've almost certainly forgotten some, which is why it says estimate, whereas these other ones should be accurate. And then yeah, you can see the paper and impressions total right now and the estimate with masters total. So we are currently total around 210. Again, this is going to go up by quite a bit because I just used a bunch of the Lynx 65-pound cover, which current total is at 15. We just used at least 45 times 4 plus 9. So actually, I'm not going to keep this, but plus 45 times 4 plus 9 ends up being 204. Yeah, that shoots us up to 250. So like not like a ton more, like $50 more, but not like a ton more. But we're gonna do that actual math later. I mean, not even 50, like $45, $40. Anyways, that's my lovely spreadsheet. I'm gonna go take a shower and probably fight with Scoop. And by fight, I mean she's gonna attack my feet like a menace. And I will see y'all tomorrow. unlocked. You're sitting on the risograph printer. Because my plan is I'll talk while I work since I have some more things to print. First, what we're printing right now is the second bit of the CRT print, which looks like it needs to get shifted a little bit, but I think it looks pretty good. I like how it turned out. But yeah, it is Wednesday. I'm trying to remember if I even filmed much yesterday. I think I filmed myself working on some stuff, but I didn't really film much talking, if I remember correctly. Let's see what that looks like. But yeah, so we've actually finished a lot of things today. We finished up the cutting and, well, we finished printing the free run stuff yesterday, and then we finished cutting it today. I used the big scary cutting machine, which I got a little bit of footage of. And it's not actually that scary, but like it's kind of scary. It makes big loud noise and big scary chopping blade, but like less worried about fingers getting chopped, because in order to operate it, you have to like hold the two things and then move them at the same time. So it's designed well in the sense that it makes sure that you have to have both your hands somewhere so that you can like operate it, so your hand isn't gonna be here and then you're gonna operate, you know? But it is a big loud noise. Yeah, we got those all collated, so I don't think y'all can see it here. Let me grab a little stack. This is one of the stacks. There's a larger stack that I didn't want to grab because it's larger and that's gonna be harder to grab. But we have, I counted this earlier and I don't remember, I think it's 27, I want to say. We got 27 like good copies essentially. I still need to bind them and everything, so depending on how binding goes, maybe that number will go down. But currently we have 27, or slated to have 27 copies of the flip book. I think I'm still leaning towards the spiral binding, but regardless of what I choose, I need to print out the cover and the back piece, and that kind of depends on what I end up choosing, and that will be at least 2 days. So I really should have asked today, but I didn't. So I'll probably try and ask early tomorrow morning, so I know, then I can print that early tomorrow morning, and then on Friday I can print it early on Friday, and then finish up binding at night. I think that'll be the plan, and hopefully it works out. But maybe I'll I'll try and print early in the morning tomorrow and then print that night, and then I'll have all of Friday to figure out binding. That'll probably be a better timeline. It won't give the print as much time to dry in between, so you might get more smears and like roller marks and stuff. Will suck, but that might be what we do. But we're finishing printing the CRT print right now, and this one, once we finish it, we can just start working on binding if we want. I think printing on one of the thicker pieces now. This is the third color of all of the CRT prints, and third color prints just are harder because it's never gonna be exact. Just because the paper is going to be slightly different sizes, which means that the way that it printed originally is going to be like slightly different and all that jazz. But this looks pretty good. Don't have too much to complain about that. And I think what we'll do, so plan for the rest of tonight. I think what we'll plan to do, we'll finish up printing these guys. And then we'll finish up printing all of the inserts. Then we'll cut them. And then I think I would like to try and cut out the center of these guys tonight, if I have time and I'm not super sleepy. So we'll plan on that. And then I'd also like to finish the dairy, cheese, and wine print. And that one should be fairly easy to finish. It's not too many, and it'll just be finishing that print and then trimming it to size. So maybe I won't trim those tonight, but I'll finish printing them tonight. And then that means tomorrow the only thing that I need to print is the final color on the Lady Beetle zine. Before I started filming, I already printed the first two colors for the backside. So just need to finish that one up tomorrow, and then I'll be able to bind that one on Friday. So Friday will be a heavy binding day. Tomorrow will also be, oh, and tomorrow we'll also print the free written cover and back. But tomorrow's gonna be a heavier like cutting and binding day, and so will Friday. Like Friday I shouldn't have anything to print. Friday should just be binding stuff and getting things all finished. And then packing, because Saturday we leave for home. But I think that's the plan for the rest of tonight. We're gonna proof this again, because I made some adjustments. I mean, you can see, just like, I don't know if you can see, like I'm looking at the plant in the corner for these two. Hopefully you can see both of them. Maybe it'll be easier if I go like this. I'm looking at the plant in the corner for these two, and you can see on this one, it looks closer than this one, which is really, it just shows like how different the printing is, because I moved this one this way, like I moved the green this way, but it's further on this one. So the reason it's further isn't because the drum in the machine shifted, it's because the way that this paper was printed, the colors were printed further this way for some reason, which is very goofy silly, but alas, I'm wondering if you can tell. I don't think you can. I might be able to because I can like see through the paper, but I don't know if I could show you all that. I feel like, as I've said before, it ends up being like you're kind of trying to split the distance and like get it into like a semi-okay spot. In this case, I'm moving it down a couple millimeters, and then I also shifted it over a millimeter as well. It's funny because this one looks perfect. This one actually like is spot on, but that's gonna change in the next one, I'm sure. But what we'll do now is we're going to add an interval. So we're gonna skip 3 rotations. And that just means that instead of just like spitting it out constantly, it'll spit it out, go 3 rotations where 3 sheets normally would come out if you didn't add in this interval, and then spit out another one. So it just gives me some time in between the printed sheets to actually double check the alignment and make vague, like as we've just discussed, it's hard because not everything is printed in the same spot on the paper, and not all the paper is the same size. So because I'm running it through the machine a second time, it's just hard to get the alignment perfect. But if I notice that like 3 in a row are like below or like off by the same amount or a similar amount or in the same direction, I'll probably shift it over just to like kind of help make a difference-ish, maybe, possibly. But like this one, as we just said, this one came out perfect. So we'll see how the following ones come out. Hopefully this is easy. Okay, welcome back to the printer. We're sitting on top of the printer. That went pretty gosh darn well. We're gonna take these guys and we'll put them on the table over here. And let's get started on the inserts. So the generic insert, the inserts will be this direction, but they're printed like this because that's just how the paper goes in. But we have like the staticky screen and then the like color calibration screen. And the idea is we will have one of these as like the default insert in the CRT pocket. And then each pocket will come with, I haven't decided on a number yet. Maybe like, I feel like first of all, I was thinking like 4 more. So you have 5 total. But I'm also wondering if I want to do like little mystery bags with them. So maybe it comes with like 1 extra and then there's mystery bags, or like, I don't know how I want to do it. And then like mystery bags I feel like would have like 5 in them or something like that. But also I don't know. I mean, I know people like mystery bags, but like, is that fun? Is that exciting? Tell me. Tell me if that's fun, or if I should just include them just like default. So like instead of just like 1 extra thing and the default CRT screen, you'll get the default CRT screen and then like 4 extra inserts. And that would make it like more expensive. but I don't know. I don't know. Let's get this file set up. Nope, that's the wrong file actually. I am not printing aqua, I'm printing green. I feel like because I've been printing a lot of yellow, fluorescent orange, and aqua is often my last color, but in this case, it is not my last color. It was actually my very first color. I printed aqua, then fluorescent orange, and now I'm printing Kelly green. Because part of the thing is you kind of want to print your colors lightest to darkest to minimize potential roller marks on the paper. And like, I have a couple on here. You can see, I don't know even if the camera will pick this up. There's a pretty light one here that's from, pretty sure that's from the fluorescent orange. And that's because of like the rollers within the machine that are picking up or like pulling the paper through. I think they will pick up ink because the ink on the paper isn't fully dry. And that's actually something I learned while here. Risograph ink actually never fully dries. It's one of those things. I think kind of like newspaper ink is what Josh was saying. So you'll always, like, if you have a really old risograph piece, print, zine, whatever, if you like rub your finger on it, you can probably get some ink off of it. Here's that final, or I guess not final, but this is what it's looking like. Not mad at it. Yeah, I think that looks decent. Okay, alignment stuff, we are going to adjust. It's funny because the printer has a fine adjust mode, but it's not like the default that it's set at. And that honestly confuses me a little bit because I feel like I always just swap it to that because it just feels better. So non-fine adjust mode is it moves or it shifts like the color drum by 0.5 millimeters. So it'll go 0.5 millimeters, 1 millimeter, 1.5 millimeters. Whereas fine adjust mode shifts things by 0.1 millimeter. So 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, etc., etc. And I feel like I always, even if I'm moving something to 0.5 millimeters, I always swap it to fine adjust mode and then I click the button 5 times. Which maybe is just like my brain being silly, but I just like the ability to feel like I have more control over the thing, I think. Let's proof that again. Oop, and it picked up more than one piece of paper, which is always super exciting. We love when that happens. We don't actually love when that happens. We actually kind of dislike when that happens. Fun fact. I think we shifted it the wrong way. I think we were looking at I think we were looking at the wrong color. I think it still needs to maybe shift down a little bit more, but we don't actually have to shift it over. So we're gonna go back to 0 millimeters shifted horizontally. 0 millimeters shifted horizontally and move it down 0.2 millimeters more. And then we're gonna proof that. And I don't know why the machine sometimes makes that like sound. I really don't know. I'm not sure. This one looks worse. But I also have to remember that I should be matching up the green to the aqua because when I'm printing just 2 colors, and this is on recommendation from Josh, so I cannot take credit. Honestly, any risograph thing that I'm telling you, just assume that I've learned this from someone else, aka I've learned this from Josh, most likely. So when I'm printing the 2 colors, I'm only shifting the print position or like the drum position of the second color. So the first color is always staying in the same spot, which means that when I'm proofing my second run through, so my third and or fourth color, in this case, just the third color, I know that I should be lining up this new color to the first color that I printed. In this case, I printed the aqua first and then I printed the fluorescent one. So like this offset here with the fluorescent orange being like very offset shouldn't actually concern me as much because in this proof, the aqua and the fluorescent orange are not lined up. But what I should be concerned about is like this gap here and this gap here, because that ends up being a little bit off. It means that the green maybe needs to be shifted this way a little bit more, and honestly a little bit more down still. So let's do that. And we have one more proof, and this proof just has the blue on it because it was my first run through. Okay, and as we've discussed before, it has changed because, again, it doesn't always print in the same spot and paper isn't always the same size. So we moved the green this way because there was a gap, and now there's a gap going the opposite direction. So I think what I'll do, although vertical does look good on this one, which is good, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to simply print it with the thicker paper, which is underneath all of my other paper, and I'm going to see what that ends up looking like, because I also learned the alignment can shift when you add thicker paper in. So honestly, we have the same problem where we have a little bit of a gap in between and like a little bit of an overlap of the blue and the green. So the green needs to shift like this way a tad. And honestly, no, it does look like I made a change, but we'll shift it one more. It's funny because I feel like it's just how these things go sometimes. I think I had said earlier, we moved it back to 0. And then I moved it 0.2 in the opposite direction because we were seeing gaps when it was at 0. And now it's back at 0. So we're gonna see how this looks. I love aligning prints. And that looks pretty gosh darn good. Honestly, I think the gap that we're seeing is from the pink and not like the pink and blue, and not the green and the pink and blue. I think the green looks good. So we're gonna do the same gosh darn thing. We're gonna add an interval and set an amount of an amount. I'm not gonna move y'all this time. You get to stay up there. So that was actually like 10. Which makes sense. I didn't print as many of these guys because, what was the reason? Oh, right, because I didn't need as many of them. And because on one of these, I'm getting 2 of each and 4 basic ones total. So then we'll go ahead and we're gonna start printing the third color on these guys, which are also inclusions or like inserts, but they're the fancy ones. AKA video games and movies and stuff of definitely not copyrighted intellectual property. Shh, don't tell anyone. Something that is funny, so when you're going into print, I have to go into properties and I like select the color that I'm printing. And I'm printing with Kelly Green right now. But right before this, I printed with lime, and lime was in the second spot. So lime is still in the second spot. And how it shows up in the printer, which means how I need to put it into the computer, both of them show up as green 1. So if I was actually printing with Kelly Green and lime, and like printing with both colors, I would be printing with green 1 and green 1, which I just think is silly. Especially since there are other, like there's a green 2 and a green 3 in there as well. I forgot about my tea because I've been talking to you guys. This is a green mint from Arnie & Sons. I brought tea with me from home. Looks pretty good. Love to see it. It's definitely offset, and probably doesn't help that actually the blue and pink or blue and fluorescent orange on this one specifically look pretty good. Going in to adjust again. And proof again. Wow, we've adjusted it. 0.4 millimeters down and 0.3 millimeters to the right. It did grab all of the pieces of paper again, which is like cool or whatever. I honestly don't know if we need to do another proof with that. This looks pretty good. Like I think it's a little bit too far still to the left, to the right. We moved it too far to the right. We should move it back a few millimeters. We're gonna, should I go for it? We'll go for it. We're gonna proof with one of the thick papers. Because YOLO, baby. I don't know. It's not even that late. It's like 8 p.m. and I'm on something apparently. Yeah, no, that just looks good. Never punished, baby. It's 9. There's definitely not 9 in there, I don't think. But that's how many we're printing. Yeah, they all look good. They all basically look like that. It's delightful. I will say, to get these like color separations, I used Spectralite, which Josh introduced to both me and the other residents. Although I think the other resident had heard of it before. I hadn't heard of it at all, but it'll take a raster image. It'll take a raster file, so like a JPEG or a PNG, and it'll allow you to create like a color palette, like a risograph color palette, and then you can resoify it, and it'll give you the layers for the like color palette that you've specified, and give you like the black and white image that you need to create that image in Reso. It's really cool. But it was interesting, like talking to Josh about it, because what was the comparison he made? Because you can't really adjust too many things within it when you're doing it. I think they allow you to like adjust the like percentage opacity of the ink itself, and then obviously what colors you're using, like what Reso palette you're using. But other than that, I don't think there's really many controls, which is fine for this for me. Like I don't feel like I need a ton of controls in it. I also just don't really know where I would, you could almost certainly do this in Photoshop, I would assume, like just grab the like red colors or like the warm colors from an image. I would assume you can do that. I mean, that's essentially what a printer is doing, right? Because you're printing in CMYK. So it's knowing what layer of like cyan you need to make, and then magenta, and then yellow, and then black. I don't know, I'm not a print tech. I assume there is a way to do it in Photoshop. I do not know the way to do it in Photoshop. Again, I mainly work with vector images, so raster is like outside my knowledge. So I just used it to like really quickly split all the things apart. It's so fast, and it worked really well. I like how the images came out, but you can see like a preview of what it'll look like. Yeah, it's very cool. It's very fun. I mean, maybe I'll just show you and then you can guess. What are these 4 images from? Definitely not popular media. Haha. So we will print. So we're making a new master, and I think I've described this before, but it's very cool. Risograph is such a cool medium. So when it's making a master, it's essentially making a stencil, but like taking the digital image that I am providing it and then making a stencil in the machine using like this thermal paper, so paper that is sensitive to heat, I guess is what you would consider it. Why is this so green? I don't know, it came out just like very, very green. Yeah, I'm on the right file. Let's just try that again, see what it looks like. I don't know why it's coming out so green. Maybe I saved the wrong file. Honestly, I think that might be it. Yay, tech issues. Haha. By tech issues, I mean file issues. It's never happened. Well, I'm gonna say goodnight to y'all here, because I think it's just gonna get more boring. But essentially what I need to do is I need to go resave the file, put it to the USB, and then put the USB back in the laptop and then reprint it, which means we get to make a new master. Yay! But we'll finish this up, then we'll print the other thing, then we'll cut some things, and then we'll go to sleep. And I'll see y'all tomorrow. Hello friends. Oh, here comes Scoop. Wow, thank you for stepping in the suitcase, ma'am. Hi, I was about to start doing something. it's the last day. We'll orient you in time. It is Friday, so last day of the residency, and I've successfully finished all my projects. Yay! So now I'm gonna start putting things in my suitcase to make sure that I have enough room. You have needle feet, and I do not have enough layers on to deal with said needle feet. Nope. Okay, ma'am. You're gonna be in the way, huh? So, let us work on packing whilst we chat about stuff. And make sure that Scoop doesn't get it up to no good like she ought to do. Do you know how to fetch? Yeah, you do. Okay. We really just had one thing. Ma'am, absolutely not. Get out of here. Okay, gotta evict the Scoop. She being a menace. Let's see, she's in the suitcase right now. Look at this menace. Okay, Scoop has been evicted, unfortunately. I feel a little bad when I have to kick her out sometimes. So I'm like, aw, you are cute, but also you are definitely in the way currently. We'll see if she comes back later, like tonight. Give her some more pets and lovin's. But yeah, we gotta pack to make sure that we have enough room for everything. I think actually this will be the spot for stuff. Try and keep the rest of stuff in the other side, just because one side is flatter than the other. So we shall see if we can do it. And I think in terms of like weight limitations, when we came here, we had like 38 pounds. So as long as we have not added 12 whole pounds to the suitcase, we should be fine. But also I don't actually know how much weight we will have added. I'll probably try and shift some of the heavier things, mainly like laptop and maybe some of the books into my carry-on. That way some of that weight will be not in here. But yeah, today we went to Littleton because there's a really good bakery there, and took a little break, went over there, and it was very good. I had a Danish that was guava and sweet cream cheese, and it was very, very good. 10 out of 10. Would recommend. And I got a coffee as well. And then came back, and before we went to the bakery, I had finished spiral binding the Free Run flip books. And then when we got back, I came back and worked on editing a short that I still need to do a voiceover for. So after I do packing stuff, I'll probably do that. And then the short will probably go out tomorrow. And then I will post probably either on Sunday or Monday. I'll post some like static photos of the second week of residency, which is very similar to what I did for the first week. I posted photos from the first week of residency after posting a bunch of reels. Probably do a very similar thing. But yeah, I'm very happy that we basically finished everything we set out to accomplish or finish, and like a bunch of extra little projects that kind of just like popped up, and I was like, what the heck, let's experiment and do this thing. So I think notably the Lady Beetle zine, which I'm very happy with how it came out, was something that, you know, I did all of the artwork for here, was inspired by here because there were so many little beetle dudes around, and truly did think they were ladybugs at first. They are in fact not ladybugs. They are Asian lady beetles. They're like in the same family as ladybugs, but aren't ladybugs. And you can tell the difference because the beetles have a little like M shape on their, like right below their head, or like on their head basically. And so that's kind of how you can tell what kind they are, which is very cool. We are indeed going to need to fit blanket that's on the bed. I hear a Scoop. I don't know if you can hear that. She is scratching at the door actively right now. But we will need blanket, which is pretty hefty, like thick. And then Scoop, ma'am, stop that. So we'll have blanket, and then we have shoes, which I'm gonna put sandals in here, so they shouldn't be as bad. And then we have a couple of other things like this absolutely needs to go in here. It's the carving pieces, and we'll grab one mask out of here, but the rest of the extra masks can go in here. And then this is toiletries, which I'll probably grab before the night is done, but you know. And then extra art stuff that I ended up not using. I actually didn't use this either, my carving. I also didn't end up carving anything. So we also have, what else am I forgetting? So I think the goal is to mostly just have this, y'all can't see, the like zippered portion of my suitcase be for the other stuff. And I guess technically if we like have room in there, I could either put the blanket on top, because I think that would be fine. Might try and squish like laptop charger in here, and then my jacket and my cardigan will be for carry-on. We'll have a mask, and oh, I do need to. These guys, extra blocks, should probably be in carry-on. They would probably fit okay in the flat side where most of the things will be, but they could also fit on the clothing and other stuff side. Okay, we moved spots. It's funny, this is like the last place I'll probably talk to y'all while I'm here. And it was like the first place that I talked to y'all while I was here. If you missed the beginning of the artist residency, you should go watch part 1, which released last week. But yeah, this was a really, really good experience. I'm very happy with like everything I got to accomplish here. It's been really nice just to like have an opportunity to, one, experiment with risograph. I really enjoyed like getting to know the medium more, just because again, like not something that I had really worked with in depth previously, but also just having like time frame to not think about anything else was also really nice, which I think is part of the probably the appeal of artist residencies, right? Is time to kind of relax, like a little bit. It's relaxing, and focus on art and being creative and all that jazz. And I think it was really fun because like some fun things came about that I hadn't planned to work on. I mean, there were things that I did plan to work on that most of them I finished, except for one print, which was the Oron High School print, which I was just like, I'm not gonna finish this right now. That's something to still work on and finish hopefully when I'm home at some point. But like the whole like CRT thing coming from like just looking at the risograph colors and being like, you know, they do kind of look like the static screen that you see on CRTs when there's like no channel, and having that kind of just spark like this whole line of thought and then experiment and all that jazz was very fun. And then obviously we just talked about, but like the Lady Beetle zine and it being, I think it turned out really good. I'm really, really happy with how it turned out, and it's very cute. It's something that is very here, if that makes sense. If I had taken 2 weeks in Seattle, anywhere in Seattle, I would have never come up with that, because that's not a thing that happens in Seattle. So it's something that's just like, it only came about because I came here, and there's a little scoop cameo in the zine, which is also delightful. And then just being able to like experiment with colors and figuring out like how they kind of layer on top of each other, and how to best work in that format going forward as well, like how to kind of be able to digitally predict what the colors are going to look like, I think is also really interesting. Like just as an example, when I'm usually formatting my files before coming here, right, I would go lightest to darkest color, because that was my understanding of the order that they would probably be printed in because of roller marks, which I think I've mentioned before. And then in talking to Josh, was like, oh yeah, so generally you do want to print lightest to darkest, but on a 2-color machine, which is the one that I was using, within those 2 colors, you want to print the darker color first. So in a lot of my files, I had them set up for yellow, fluorescent pink, aqua, and then sometimes black. And so in my brain, I was like, oh, I need to go and redo how I'm doing the colors, because they're gonna layer on top of each other differently depending on the order that they're printed in, right? And not really. because a lot of the inks are like a transparent base. They're not super opaque. I think there are some inks that have like a white base. Josh was showing us some that were printed on like dark colored paper and they looked really good, but yellow and fluorescent pink are not two of those. Neither is aqua. I think the one he called out was like mist, and it looked really good on black paper, let me tell you. It made me be like, ooh, should I do a project with that? And I didn't for this go around, but maybe in the future, because yeah. So, and because the way it's printing is it's doing a bunch of dots on the paper, right? And it's kind of the like visual effect of seeing like a one dot next to another dot kind of makes like the color combination. Obviously there's some like overlap and all that jazz, but the ordering of the colors mattered a lot less than I initially thought, essentially. And so when he told us this on our first day, I was like, oh, I need to go reformat all of my files. So I did. And because of the way it works digitally, if you put the fluorescent pink at the bottom of the stack, the yellow is going to cover more of that. So you do more pink, less yellow. And that's not what you want in your actual printing. You always want like more yellow, less pink. If you're going for like a red or like a orangey yellow or something like that, you're gonna want less pink and more yellow. Even though in digital files with the pink on the bottom, it'll probably look like you want more pink and less yellow. So it's just, it's very interesting. And part of it is like me realizing, oh, I should design my files with the lightest color at the bottom layer, even if when printing, I'm going to have the lightest layer be like the second color to be printed. That's just, I'm gonna get more accurate representations of colors that way. So it ended up being that some of my files ended up a little bit more pink than I might have wanted or hoped for, but I think it's fine. And I don't think you can really tell unless I like actively point it out to you. And then because like all of the files that I had pre-prepared were all like fluorescent pink, yellow, aqua, and then either like midnight or black or neither, right? It was all essentially CMYK printing. My like extra experiments like CRT and Lady Beetle both were using colors that I didn't use in those, which was really fun as well. Oh, and the like milk wine and cheese print that was just based off of a comment my partner said. So it was just fun to be able to use like different colors that I probably wouldn't have otherwise, and like being able to see what those ended up looking like, and it was very fun. It's also really fun that there was another artist here while I was here. I'll put their Instagram handle somewhere on the screen, but her name is Abby or Abigail, and she was delightful. She is mainly a horror comic artist and does a lot of really fun, like creepy things. I don't think I told her this, but I snooped on her Instagram while like waiting to come here, waiting in the airport, and no, her stuff is really cool. It was really fun being able to see the stuff that she made because we have such different like working styles. I mean, I think my working style is fairly different from a lot of people's because I do like vector only, and yeah, being able to see what she was doing was really cool. And she did a lot of like different color combinations. I really liked, she did a light blue and fluorescent orange one-page zine, and that color combination is really good. It's very reminiscent of like aqua and fluorescent pink, but like a little bit different. And honestly, I think I like the light and fluorescent orange more. A hot take, I know. But being able to see like those colors together were really fun. And then she finished the residency off with a print that was hunter green and fluorescent orange, and it also looked really good. I liked the like in-between colors she got. Oh, and she had a scarlet and lake one. Like she used a lot of colors that I didn't necessarily use in my prints or in my work. So it was really fun being able to see like the colors that she was using as well. Overall, if you're an artist considering this residency or a residency, I mean, I can't speak for other residencies, but residency in general, I think it's a very good time to, it's very nice to have like time to focus on art, which maybe if you're a full-time artist, it's a little bit different. But I mean, even then, like you're doing 10 million other things like marketing and business and blah, blah, blah. So still having the time to focus on art. but especially if you're like part-time artist and you have like a 9 to 5 or other part-time jobs or whatever, if you're able, highly recommend artist residency. And like, it's also just been, I don't think I've really talked about this as much, but it's also just been really nice having someone who knows what they're doing. And Josh has been an absolute delight in terms of like knowledge and giving opinions on things. Like, he was helping me figure out kind of like what sort of binding I wanted to do for the flip book specifically. And like, one of the things that was very cool was he had a different artist's like little flip book. It was very cool. It was like a little kaleidoscope one, but the way that they designed it is very, very fun. But he was showing me because they used like the perfect binder, which is like the glue binding. And he was like, yeah, so it's breaking. So I don't know how you want to do yours, but like a consideration is like long-term wear. And then was talking about like, oh, if you're doing like a full cover, then you have to, it's like a little bit more intensive, da 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 da. So very, very helpful in that case. And just like the crash course in Rezo and how it works and kind of like what to think about when you're doing stuff. And I know more so for Abby, less so for me, but like the tech support when the Rezo printer is yelling at you and you can't figure it out, like having someone who knows the printers very well and can help troubleshoot, and not even help troubleshoot, do the troubleshooting for you, 10 out of 10 would recommend. But yeah, all this to say, artist residency is great because dedicated time to do art, and I love that. Direct angle press, which I should say, die rectangle, is also great. And I would highly, highly recommend doing residency through them if you're interested in like risograph or printmaking, and or even like zine making, book binding stuff. Like, I've thoroughly enjoyed being out here. It's been very different being in a tiny little town again, but still lovely. They offer both like week-long and 2-week-long residencies, and I opted for 2 weeks long because I was like, I feel like you'll be able to do more things and like get more stuff done, which is true. I don't think I would have been able to complete the free run flip book if I didn't opt for a 2-week-long. And I don't think I would have had nearly as much time to like experiment and do different things like the CRT print and the Lady Beetle zine. Like, both of those I did in the second week, right? I did a lot of the prepared file stuff that I had in the first week, which honestly was like good learning, but I wouldn't have had as much time to experiment and stuff if I had just done 1 week. But what I will say is, I think if I came in without as many prepared files and like did more experimentation just at the start, probably would have been able to do more experimenting in the first week. And what I will also say is I was able to get a lot more done than I thought I would in 1 week. All of this to say is, I think a 1 week residency, I hear Scoop again. Scoop, stop that. Scoop. All this to say, I think a 1 week residency is like plenty of time to get a lot done. A lot more than I originally expected to get done. But I think I need to, 1, go eat food, 2, make Scoop stop destroying the door because she's scratching. It is very funny. A lot of the door frames around here have like wood shavings, including here. Like, even on the inside, it's all scratched up because of a menace. And I'll probably start ferrying some of my stuff inside to pack up and see how that works. Part of me is like, I don't actually know if my 11x17 prints are gonna fit in here, which is kind of concerning. But yeah, so I will see y'all later. Hello friends, welcome to travel day. So just gonna kind of quickly go through everything that I made during residency for y'all. What I'm picking up right now is the CRT pocket inserts. And you can see a couple other things in the drawer, and we already have a few things in the suitcase, including the Beyond Journey's End flipbook based on Freerun. Just put in the Lady Beetle zine, and underneath the CRT inserts is the 5x7 MapleStory and Cute Gaming Console prints. I just put in the color swatch zines for both fluorescent orange, aqua, and Kelly green, as well as the fluorescent pink, yellow, and aqua. And at the bottom were some unfinished things, so stuff that I still need to cut and or fold that I want to bring home with me to work on further. And I'm just stuffing some extra paper into the corners to hopefully minimize it moving around during travel so that the corners don't end up getting bent. And then there's the interchangeable print and the accordion color zines. And then I end up taking everything out because I forgot that I needed to leave a copy of everything that I made with Direct Angle Press for their little library. So I end up taking everything out so that I can leave a copy of everything. Now all that's left is to travel home. So thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. I post videos every Monday about my art and what it's like running a small art business. I also want to take this time to thank my Ko-fi subscribers. If you're interested in supporting me further, you can subscribe to me on Ko-fi for $1 or $3 a month, and you'll get various rewards like your name in this video, as well as monthly downloadable backgrounds for desktop and mobile, behind the scenes content, and monthly sketchbooks about in-progress work. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!